Audacious diplomatic coup virtually by India. Two sworn enemies at each other's throats, Ukraine and Russia, and yet both nations agreed to halt the war and create a safe corridor for Indians to leave the ravaged battle zone of Sumy. True to India's Sabka Saath, not just Indian students but Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Tunisian and Nepalese students were also escorted to safety under the Indian tricolour, Tiranga. After a long, arduous bus and then a train ride, the evacuees were finally brought to Lviv, from where they will head back to India. Times Now was there waiting to receive the relieved students at the Lviv railway station, hear their ordeal and relief as they land in safer shores. Listen to this.
Bharat Mata ki Jai! Bharat Mata ki Jai! Bharat Mata ki Jai!
How are you all feeling?
Feeling so relieved.
Yeah, you're relieved.
Yes.
How was it?
It was a long journey, but we finally feel safe here and we wish to reach our home soon.
What was the worst moment?
Best moment, like in every night we need to go to Ganga.
I'm feeling really happy and really good that I can be here after all these incidents to me. I'm feeling really happy.
How long did you spend in the bunker?
I think almost every day we will rush to the bunkers when we hear the explosions and gunshots. We are like almost 13 days now, and almost about 10 days or something we were always in the bunkers. We were running to the bunkers.
But day by day the situation was getting so much worse. So we have tried our embassy, our government at last has came. They came to Sumy. From there we go to Poltava. From Poltava to Lviv. Then now we will go to the foreign borders.
We were in shortage of water, electricity and food also. And now we have overcome everything, and now we are feeling very happy right now that we have went through all faced problems, and now we are back going safely to home right now.
We are really thankful to the Indian government and the people who supported us.
Well, let me go straight across to Jonathan Gilbert, who actually spoke to all these students in Lviv. Jonathan, I believe you're still in one of the buses or trains that is being used to ferry these students out. What's it been like for these students? Okay, a few problems there with the signal. Obviously, it's a moving vehicle and the signal is dipping in and out. But let me tell you, viewers, this was not easy. Behind the journey was diplomatic mastery. Here is some big breaking news. This is the inside story of how behind the scenes India worked over time to pull off this massive coup. And I want to go straight across to Srinjoy Chaudhary for what he has been able to dig out after speaking to a number of his sources. Srinjoy, this was from an active conflict zone, always fraught with difficulty.
Rahul, even before getting all these people out, the most important thing that India achieved was to tell the Russian and Ukrainian armies where these two groups of Indians in Sumy were, and not to shell those areas. After they left, quite a lot of shelling happened. So it speaks very highly of India and Indian diplomacy that these areas were not shelled as long as the Indians were there. Yes. This could not have been said till they got out of Sumy. But believe me, Rahul, to tell to armies, don't shell or fight in these areas, don't fire on these buildings, right, is really a significant achievement.
Very significant, and it came about after a huge effort. Control rooms were set up, 55 extra staff was sent to Kiev, and from there on to another location, which was the site of a very famous battle in the past, viewers, to coordinate this effort. And I want to go across now to both In fact, Jonathan, Gilbert and Pradeep, John, we were speaking with you just a short while back, but we lost your signal. Can you hear me? What's it been like for these students and where are they headed now? Okay, we've lost him. We're not going to try that. Let me go straight back to our guests also. Maroof Raza, Pradeep also joins us, and so does Sushant Sareen. Now, before I go out to Pradeep, Maroof Raza, very quickly, what does it take to put an operation like this together?
Rahul, I said it even yesterday on our channel, and I've been saying it all along, that hats off to Indian diplomats and, of course, the leadership of the foreign minister and the foreign secretary. They have worked, as Shinjoy brought out, continuously at every level to ensure that militarily, diplomatically and politically, all the right noises were made to ensure that our people come back safely. There are 2 points I wish to bring out, Rahul. And one is that since 1990, we've had a track record of making sure we pull out Indians in hundreds and thousands. When you look at the Kuwait conflict of 1990, our Air India flights and others had gone to pull out people. And there have been 9 or 10 such incidents, most recently in Afghanistan, and of course now in a number of European countries. So we've been a country which is sending a message to its people and to the international community that come hell or high water, we care for our people. And the second thing is that, you know, in 2009, the government of India with the Foreign Office set up what came to be known as the Indian Community Welfare Fund. Now, this fund collects money systematically over the years, has, as per an assertion in Parliament in last year, September, October, has 474 crore rupees worth of funds.
Okay.
And this fund is provided for ensuring the more unheard, unsung, hapless laborer, household help, and everybody caught up out there, and give them medical assistance, money to make the journey back to India, and all that. And this is again a singular achievement systematically. We have Indians in more than 200 countries.
Absolutely.
That means whenever there is a conflict, Indians will get caught up in those conflicts. Today it's Ukraine.
And you have a contingency plan in place that kicks in very effectively, and that is real credit to Indian diplomacy. Now, viewers, I want to, on day 14 of this conflict, speak a little about Kiev. Sushant Sareen is there with us. So is Pradeep. Pradeep is in, of course, Kiev. And I want you viewers to listen in, because Kiev is now surrounded and a push into Kiev by Russians is imminent. Let's very quickly play out what Pradeep has been seeing on the ground in Kiev, and I want to bring him in and Sushant Sareen to understand really what the Russians are getting at. 14 days, they're camped outside, in fact, Kiev. Let's just change the top bands, Director Saab, as well as the visuals, because the visuals are telling you a story which is completely unbelievable. Here is the Kiev's ground report from Pradeep Dutta. Watch these pictures, viewers, of complete devastation and constant explosions. Listen to this.
Right now, I'm moving towards the outskirts of Kiev. I, Pradeep Dutta, will be getting you the latest updates from Ukraine war zone, where shelling and firing during the last few days has been intensified from the Russian side. They are trying to target civilian infrastructure. More than 2 million people had to abandon their hearths and home because of firing, and some of them are still stranded, and many others are trying to utilize humanitarian corridor. And you can see right now on roadside also, roads are completely deserted. Hardly you will find any vehicle. It's only few vehicles moving around, and they are going towards their respective places. Besides this, I will show you right now movement of Ukrainian tanks. These are Ukrainian tanks moving towards this place where a Russian army is trying to enter, and they are trying to give a befitting reply to, in fact, Russian troops. See, you can see how these Russian troops are being given befitting reply by Ukrainian tanks, and right now the tank movement is going on. Large number of tanks, wherever you will see, you will find these Russian Ukrainian tanks moving towards area where Russian army is right now deployed, because during the last few days they had made several attempts to sneak into Kyiv, but they haven't succeeded. A reason being that every time they have got a befitting response from Ukrainian army, because of which they had not been able to enter inside Kyiv area, that's the capital city. But yes, one thing is there, uncertainty is the only certainty when we talk about war zone, because that's what we have seen during this period. Many people losing their lives, women and children losing their homes, and moving from one uncertainty towards another uncertainty. And we had been getting you the stories of both plight and flight from Ukraine. Pradeep Dutta for Times Now. Right now I am on Irpin Road. This route leads towards Kyiv, capital city of Ukraine. $1 million question that is haunting everybody is that why Russian troops, even after so many days, they are not able to enter capital city. Let me show you why this thing has not been possible. See how they have barricaded roads. The tanks are there, placed at several places so that they can prevent any kind of movement, and if any Russian tank is moving towards this area, that can be targeted. That is the instruction given to the troops on the ground. Besides this, even trucks have properly blocked the road, and you can see here is a truck that has blocked the road. And let me show you, not only that, you can find those iron structures also. Those have been totally placed there on the road so that any movement can be prevented, creating a kind of a stumbling block at different places, preventing movement of Russian troops into this area. That's one of the reasons that Russians so far haven't succeeded entering Kyiv, because when on February 24th they started rolling their tanks, everybody thought that it will be a matter of days and it will be a kind of a cakewalk, but nothing of that sort has happened. Reason being the wall of resistance that has been built by Ukrainian troops and Ukrainian civilians. And besides this, you can see, let me show you these Molotov bottles. These are called petrol bombs. Petrol is put inside, some chemical is there, and people are instructed, in case they spot any of the Russian vehicle, simply lob this bottle on that vehicle so that that vehicle is set ablaze. And that way the Russian soldiers will be coming out and you can easily targeting them. This is one of the reasons that so far they had succeeded in inflicting heavy casualty on mighty army, and it is because of these barricades, these stumbling blocks and these tanks that Russians have so far not been able to move ahead. Pradeep Dutta for Times Now.
Sushant Sareen, this delay, how much is it going to cost Russia?
Rahul, just allow me a sentence or two on the evacuation. And I think Maroof was quite right when he pointed to the other evacuation. But I think what has happened in Ukraine is quite exceptional, because this is perhaps the first time that in the middle of a war, you have made two sides actually allow for a humanitarian corridor from which you have managed to pull out your people. And if you look at the statement which the Indian ambassador to the United Nations made, it was a pretty strong statement, because for the last 2 or 3 days, the green corridor would be announced and shelling would take place, and these kids were not being, you could not evacuate these kids. So I think what has happened in Ukraine is quite an exceptional feat. And apart from everybody else, which Maroof mentioned, I think the Prime Minister who interacted with his counterparts in Russia and Ukraine needs credit. As far as Kyiv is concerned, my own sense is that apart from the resistance factor, which Pradeep is quite right, has been quite ferocious, I think the Russians have realized that maybe they did not have the kind of troop levels which were needed, because all their other earlier assumptions had fallen, because they never expected this kind of ferocity in resistance. And I think they've had problems of logistics, they've had problems of troop levels, yes. And now they are moving in a far more methodical and deliberate manner than what they did in the past. The fact of the matter is that once the huge Russian military machine starts wearing down, they will take losses. There will be a lot of death and destruction in Kyiv, but I would imagine that the Russians will be able to prevail insofar as Kyiv is concerned. And it's only after they have captured Kyiv that we will get to know what the next plan of action is, both on the political and diplomatic level as well as on the military level.
Fair enough. Let me bring in Pradeep.
Extremely critical for them.
Okay, let me bring in Pradeep. Pradeep, you're of course on the ground there in Kyiv. I just want to ask you, because I'm running out of time, I just want to ask you, how much is this delay now beginning to impact supplies in the city? Number one, the city looks as if it has gone through a lot of shelling and destruction, and you're pointing it all out in excruciating detail. Where do things stand?
See, if we look at this war, if we talk about this war, this is being fought on three fronts. One, it is on the military and the kinetic front. Already we have seen a lot of death, destruction and devastation. And the second is on the legal front. Already we have seen that how Ukrainians have been knocking at the door of International Court of Justice. They want that Russia to be tried for the war crimes they have committed by targeting civilians. And third is on the information warfare that is going on from day one, ever since the first bullet has been fired. Why I'm saying information warfare, already we have seen that on several occasions, Russians have come out with a statement saying that Zelenskyy has fled to Poland, while as he had always nullified their claims coming out for those videos that he's very much in Kyiv with his own people. Yeah. And what is more important is that at the end of the day, if I have to describe war in four ways, it's about tragedy, it's about terror, it's about tyranny, it's about trauma. It's not only about the physical scar. You look at those psychological scars that the students must have gone through in 13 days they were inside that bunker, totally cut off because their internet was not working. Some of them somehow trying to charge that with a laptop. So they were facing not many problems. I think credit goes to one man, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He was able to broker that deal at a time when both the countries are training their guns at each other. This man was able to broker a deal and convince both the leaders that this humanitarian corridor, this safe corridor and green corridor is really going to be important. It is not only about providing corridor to the Indian student, but also at the end of the day, include a point about the humanitarian gesture where the people from the other countries are also allowed to come out.
An uneasy calm prevails over Kyiv. Is the moment near? That's the fundamental question. How far are we from an outright invasion of Kyiv and a takeover of Kyiv? Pradeep Dutta will be bringing you moment-to-moment updates on the Russian advance, viewers. We're taking a short break. Thank you, Pradeep. Stay safe, stay out of harm's way, but be our ears on the ground. Thank you very much.